everyone, once again, we got more Transformers for you on the Nemesis. Yeah, I need to upload more stuff to the Patreon now that I'm realizing it, but either way, yes, the Nemesis. How should I put this? All I know is the Nemesis is the name of the ship that, well, you know, the Decepticons come on. Also, yeah. More or less, that's the one thing I know about, and that Trypticon, I think, transforms into it in one of the video games. That's pretty much my knowledge base of it. Then again, Trypticon also transformed into a space station. How do you just rewrite a Transformers thing they can transform into? That's a thought for later. Anyway, we're going to head into this, but like I said before, if you want more, like, comment, subscribe, comment what other videos I should watch down below. And definitely check out Chris McFeely's videos before mine. If you haven't, how? The channel is so small. Where did you come from? Anyway, let's head into it.
There's a dark star rising in this week's episode as we take a look at the world-burning warship that was just immortalized in toy form in this year's Transformers Legacy line.
Cool.
These are the basics on the Decepticon space cruiser, the Nemesis.
I also probably should have added the fact that the Nemesis is actually a pretty good name for a spaceship. And honestly, at least I think so, but yeah.
Though a well-recognized part of Transformers stories today, the Nemesis didn't play a big role in the original 1980s series. In fact, the ship wasn't even named back then.
I'm not surprised.
It originated in the story treatment written by Marvel Comics editor Jim Shooter during the development of the Transformers franchise in 1983. Shooter's story, which was adapted to become both the first issue of the Transformers comic and the first episode of the cartoon, described how, when Optimus Prime's Autobots left Cybertron in their ship the Ark, Megatron and his Decepticons pursued them in their own vessel. Ambushing the Ark, the Decepticons left their ship to board the Autobot craft, and in the chaos of the fight, the Ark crashed on prehistoric Earth, knocking all the Transformers within offline for 4 million years, until they awakened in 1984.
Which is still insane,
However,
but yeah.
Shooter's story didn't mention what happened to the Decepticon ship, leading to the cartoon and the comic coming up with their own different ideas of fate.
Sorry, I just sneezed.
In the cartoon, what became of the ship wasn't immediately addressed. Instead, after awakening, the Decepticons constructed a new space cruiser to return to Cybertron. This new ship, which in the 21st century was retroactively given the name the Victory, would have a much larger role in the cartoon than the original, after the Autobot Mirage caused it to crash into the ocean, and the Decepticons rebuilt the wreck into an...
I don't know why it didn't stop when I pressed the button, but you know. Yeah, we watched this early on over on the Patreon, so if you want to see me and Fable react to that, you can head over there. Anyway, as I was saying before, the Victory doesn't roll off the tongue as well as some other things for ships, but, or names for ships. Still, yeah, I remember them building this one in this episode. Ugh.
To the ocean, and the Decepticons rebuilt the wreck into an underwater complex that served as their headquarters for the first 2 seasons of the show.
Yeah, I remember that part.
The fate of their original ship was eventually revealed in the 1985 episode Microbots.
I haven't seen this one yet.
It had crashed on Earth at the same time as the Ark, in the jungles of South America. After human archaeologists unearthed the wreck, Megatron recovered the ship's power core, the heart of Cybertron, and used it to temporarily boost his own power levels.
A mystic artifact that he just had in
the comic, on the other hand, it was explained that when the Decepticons had left their ship, Shockwave had remained behind to man the craft. A 1986 story written for the United Kingdom's version of the comic then revealed that when Shockwave followed the Ark down to Earth, he left the ship in a cloaked orbit around the planet, where it floated undisturbed until the present day. when it was destroyed in the test firing of a new Decepticon weapon.
What? How?
However, in 1990...
How'd you hit your own ship with a test weapon? Alright then. I'm sorry, I'm just so confused by that. Like, yes, it was destroyed in a test weapon fire. I'm like, what? Was it just being cloaked up there and they didn't see it?
The American comic ignored this story and presented its own alternate fate for the craft. Here, Shockwave had parked it on the bottom of the Irish Sea and would briefly return to it in the present day to use it as a headquarters. After that, it was almost a decade before the Decepticon ship was seen again, but it finally returned in 1999 in the Beast Wars cartoon. This series named the ship Nemesis for the first time, and presented yet another take on what became of it after its attack on the Ark, depicting it as having crashed in the Atlantic Ocean. Beast Wars told the story of two warring groups of Transformers from the future who traveled back in time to prehistoric Earth. One of whom,
he raised the
evil
Nemesis?
Predacon Tarantulas, found and repaired the Nemesis. In the series finale, the Predacons sought to use the ship to alter history by destroying the Autobots as they lay dormant aboard the Ark, but were foiled when the heroic Maximo Rhinox crashed one of the Ark's shuttlecraft into the Nemesis, blowing it out of the sky. The ship was last seen falling over the horizon, the suggestion being that it would go on to crash in South America, as seen in the original cartoon.
Interesting. Yeah, I've also been watching this with Met and Kai, so yeah, obviously over on Patreon, but I try to leave shorts for you guys to see. Other than that, yeah, it's been an entertaining show so far. I do need to, like, just binge it one day and then post it all over on the Patreon. I really should. Well, that's the idea. If I had a day to do that, I don't have a full day to just do anything like that. I'm so busy.
Once an almost forgotten piece of Transformers history, its appearance in Beast Wars, in a larger and more dramatic role than it had ever played in classic media, really made the Nemesis famous. Off the back of this impressive showing, many new series in the 21st century went on to feature the ship with increased prominence, following Beast Wars' lead and depicting it as the most terrifyingly powerful warship in Decepticon history. The direct counterpart of, and occupying the same legendary status as the Autobots' iconic Ark. The Nemesis has appeared in cartoons, film, comic books, and more, in its classic role as the vessel used by the Decepticons to leave Cybertron. Each series putting its own spin on the ship's story. In some, it crashes. In others, it remains airborne. But either way, in modern media, it typically serves as the villain's base of operations while away from their homeworld, taking over the role that, in the 80s cartoon, was occupied by the other ship that became their undersea base.
I mean,
the most significant media appearance of the Nemesis in the 21st century thus far is probably 2010's Transformers Prime.
I'll need to watch this show at some point.
In this animated series, the ship served as the Decepticons' flying mobile headquarters on Earth, hidden from detection by stealth fields. Though not mentioned in the show itself, several pieces of associated media, most prominently the 2012 video game Fall of Cybertron, explained that, in this continuity, the Nemesis was created from the deactivated body of the gigantic dinosaur Decepticon, Trypticon, after he was defeated by the Autobots on Cybertron.
I remember specifically Megatron just, like, turning the knife in Trypticon, quite literally by saying, "Trypticon, if you are still able to hear this, this is not a rescue. You failed me. So we are turning you into our ship. You will never be able to be transformed again." I'm like, you didn't need to go that far, Megatron. He was already being turned into your ship. I think he kind of realized what was going on. Also, that Megatron is also incredibly insane, so, you know. But then again, that Megatron has always been insane. He quite literally shoots his crew for even questioning anything he says. Even the slightest bit of hesitation. Yeah. Anyway. Moving forward.
millions of years ago.
Yeah.
In the 2012 showcase episode, Flying Mind, after sabotage by the Autobot Bulkhead brought the Nemesis crashing to Earth's surface, Megatron repaired the ship with an infusion of the mystical
Of course, dark
Energon.
Energon.
But the substance wound up giving the ship a life and will of its own
Oh!
once again. And it turned against the
no.
Decepticons until the Dark Energon could be purged from its systems.
That's not that surprising.
When a new toy of Trypticon was
Oh,
released in
cool.
2016's Titan's Return toy line,
I don't
the
think
figure was
Trypticon
given
could be a headmaster.
spacecraft alternate mode in homage to the Prime take on the Nemesis.
It's still a cool looking
But this
spaceship.
wouldn't be the last time that the Nemesis was depicted as being a Transformer. In 2021, the Kingdom toy line featured
Oh,
a toy
yeah,
of the
they
Autobot
turned the
Ark
Ark
that could
into a-
convert into a giant robot mode, which was prominently showcased in the tie-in Netflix animated series
I keep getting
taking
told this
down
show
the
isn't
Nemesis.
good.
And
He's
with the
just
concept
punching
of a
the Nemesis.
transforming Ark now established, it seemed like it was only a matter of time until a Nemesis figure was made to complement it.
Yeah.
And indeed, a true transforming Nemesis toy arrived.
Is it wrong that I just want the Ark and the Nemesis to transform and start having a giant rock'em sock'em robot battle? You guys know what I mean, but yeah.
In 2023 as part of the Legacy line, able to convert from a starship based on the classic cartoon design to a female robot mode. Now, notably, the Decepticons' Nemesis isn't the only Nemesis in Transformers history.
Doesn't
In
surprise
late
me.
1998, less than a year before Beast Wars would finally give the Decepticon
Wars 2?
spaceship a name and truly put it on the map, the Japanese original spin-off series, Beast Wars
Yeah.
2nd, introduced
Well,
another
second, but
vessel
you know what I
that,
mean.
by complete coincidence, was also named
Why
Nemesis.
does it have a giant
Commanded
eye?
by the Predacon Emperor Galvatron, this Nemesis was a mobile fortress the size of an entire planet, able
Oh.
to drain energy from
Dear
other
God.
planets through its massive single eye. Galvatron used his Nemesis to suck the powerful Angle-Moi energy out of the planet Gaia until it was destroyed by Maximal Commander Lio Convoy. This Nemesis would later appear in the Transformers Legends manga, which revealed that it was originally constructed by the Decepticon Galvatron. And it was also adapted into IDW Publishing's
Oh.
comic books, which reimagined it,
Oh no,
not unlike the
Shockwave.
Decepticon ship, as a giant transformer actually named Nemesis, who served the ancient Cybertronian leader Onyx Prime,
Huh.
and later fused with the monster planet Unicron.
That sounds
to become
bad.
one of his eyes.
Oh.
But even though that means it wasn't technically the first to bear the name, it's the Decepticon Nemesis that's become the best known.
Yep.
Once little more than a footnote in the franchise's history, elevated by Beast Wars into an iconic recurring element of Transformers lore.
Even their head is basically the Decepticon logo, honestly. Which, that's expected. But this is a really good looking toy, at least to me. Yeah, maybe I just have a preference. But yeah.
And those are the basics on the Nemesis.
And Nemesis, the main ship of Decepticons now. It is interesting that it has a transforming form, at least more than once. Like, even before the Arc thing, I think it's had a transformation, quite literally. Whether it be Trypticon or anything else, but still, it's interesting to have. Anywho, I'll say this and I'll say this now. If you like what I'm doing here, please do like, comment, subscribe. Well, I don't know why I'm talking like this. Well, yeah. And yeah, tell me what you think of the Nemesis down below. Do you like the Ark and the Nemesis turning into giant Transformers? Do you think it's stupid? Do you think it's awesome? What is your thoughts on it? I always read the comments, and I always want to check out what you guys are thinking. But anywho, thank you all so much, and I'll see you all there. Bye-bye, and take care of yourselves.